How about this one? How does it work, everyone? I hope you all liked that really sad song. Oh, sorry, I got it under control. I do not. Almost welcome to the Clumsy Shelter. Oh my gosh, everyone! I became I'm a new Twitch partner. Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh! I found out on stream.
Hello and welcome to the 206. My name is Mark, coming to you from Seattle, Washington, and this is Twitching It Up, a Twitch streamer interview series. Twitch is a streaming platform for gamers, singers, and all kinds of content creators from all over the world. My goal with these interviews is to give some insight into the lives of people who use Twitch as a platform to share their talents and engage with their communities. Now, during episode 1, the previous one to this, we traveled to Manila in the Philippines to meet NicoleForcadela, amazing singer. Now, this time around, I'm bringing you to another very special place, a place called the Ambient Shelter, which is located in Sydney, Australia, a place to relax and rest and enjoy a truly amazing singer, musician, and of course, a Twitch streamer, the one and only. Here she is, everybody, HeymunMusic. Heymun, thank you for being here and welcome to the 206.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for having me on today. Hello.
It's a pleasure to have you, Heymun. Thank you so much. Now, Heymun, let's start at the beginning of your Twitch journeys. Obviously, that's why we're here. So how long have you been on Twitch and how did you first discover the platform?
So tomorrow would be August 20th.
Yeah.
And that would be officially 9 months for me on Twitch.
Wow,
yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And how this whole Twitch thing happened was I was making YouTube videos, weekly series, exploring synthesizers for 4 years. And one of my viewers were like, hey, you should try Twitch. And that's how it happened.
Okay. So a recommendation from somebody who'd already been using it. Oh, that's amazing. So when you started then, when you sat down and you took a look at Twitch, and there's a lot to figure out, there's so many things about it that's unique to the platform. So what was the biggest challenge you faced when you first started that process?
I think the biggest challenge was nobody on my YouTube channel has ever heard my speaking voice.
Oh.
For 4 to 5 years of making these videos, no one's really heard me speak, or they don't know what my personality is like. They just know that she's crazy about synthesizers. These are the combinations that, she dedicates her time and life into understanding these synthesizers. But who is she, And once I started streaming, I realized the challenge was, oh my gosh, people are going to know how awkward I really am. And I have to be open about that because there's no hiding anything on Twitch. There's no ability for me to control myself on Twitch. I realize I'm an open book. And I just thought, am I like this? I'm so introverted and I make videos without even saying a word. And on Twitch, we're doing story time, we're Rubik's Cubing, we're singing songs, we're talking about synthesizers. I'm singing them, all of my original songs, new songs, diving into lyrics. I'm like, wow, I've just opened the floodgates on Twitch, in a way I've never opened up on any platform before.
No, that's amazing. There's the classic Disney song, A Whole New World. I mean, that really was your experience from that standpoint. Now, as we're looking at your setup there with the keyboards and the computers and just everything involved with that. So say similar question, I guess, from a technical standpoint, what was it like getting everything set up, and have you done upgrades, and how have you advanced as a streamer from a technical standpoint?
I mean, it's certainly, for me, from the outside looking in, I'm like, wow, you really are a synth Furby who has, look at this situation here. It's because on YouTube, I'm just focused on one system or two systems at one time, and I get to control like to the highest degree of like how I want this camera angle to be. This is the story I'm telling. But on Twitch, it's like I am doing so many things at one time with these many things going on at the same time. Like this on the left is Frankie the Frankenstein, my modular synthesizer.
Oh, wow.
And that's a whole brain on its own.
Sure.
Then so I'm working this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, mixer 6, C-board 7, Arturis key step 8, a MIDI control 9, and 10 here.
Wow.
So, and then I'm looking at chat, right?
Yep.
And I'm looking at my levels whenever, because there's so many things going on at the same time. I have a mixer here. I have another mixer there at 11. So I have to, while I am singing songs and I'm interacting, I'm constantly, my brain is constantly working like, okay, that's too soft, up, that's too loud, down. What's the next song? Transitions, this piano comes in. Oh yeah, the guitar. When someone says, do the guitar song, and I'm like, oh yeah, I do have a guitar. Give me a second. And I'm like, so it's such a different beast. Like streaming is a completely different, I had to just start from scratch of how I think about synthesizers and performing.
No, I never really thought about that before, because how you're talking about the YouTube experience where you have 100% control over every single second, whereas once you hit the button to go live on Twitch, you almost have no control. It's just everything, because it's live, like anything can happen. You really don't know. So do you remember anything where you ran into a technical issue that you had to like all of a sudden troubleshoot in the middle of a stream?
Yes, about 1 to 2 months after I started streaming, after I got affiliate or something, I was put on the front page.
Oh yeah.
And on that front page stream, a fruit fly flew right across like my face, and I just did a swatting motion, and it dropped my phone onto my audio interface.
Oh no.
And the whole stream just looped.
Really?
The sound, everything just looped like, and there's nothing I could do. And it was the first time I was on front page experiencing something like that. And so I was like, you have to fix it. You have to fix it right now. And so I'm there like miming, like, it's okay. I'm like, they're like typing like, oh, like we're just having a little bit of issues here. It's fine. But I was sweating so much, thinking like, oh my gosh. Like one part of my brain is like, this system, right? But then once you start streaming, you need to know this system even more.
Right.
Like I need to know which one is glitching. How do I solve this without ending the stream? Like there's so many things that I had to learn in the 9 months that was like accelerated, that you have to be like, every time you hit live, that's your chance, to bring someone into your ambient shelter and show them like, this is the space that this is what I do. So when things go wrong, you almost have to be like, okay, I thought I knew these synthesizers, but I better know them when there's an emergency as well. I need to know how to switch them off without them kind of creating sounds that would startle people, because they are like that. The nature of when everything's plugged in, if something's wrong and I switch off, it goes pop, and they just go, oh. So now I'm learning like, okay, I needed this to switch off all of the signals. And then my hands are like, so how's everyone's day? How's it going?
So Heymun, that is just unbelievable how you're able to handle all of that, and just to thinking of everything that you have to do is just, it's like, I'm already impressed by your streams and I love watching them, but that just adds another entire layer of how impressive it really is, everything that you're able to do, and especially with everything that now. So one of the questions I wanted to ask you, compared to right now, is if you could travel back to the very first day that you sat down to go live on Twitch, what bit of advice would you give that Heymun that's sitting there ready to start that first day?
I think I would tell her to start really small and then just add one thing later. Like just, because that's how I started. I just started one system. then 2 system, 3 system, 4 systems, and now we're like 13. And, to let her know, like, the learning part of streaming is the whole joy of streaming.
Right.
I will forever be a student of Twitch. I will forever be a student of life. And that's what I enjoy about streaming, is that I never hit live and think I got it figured out.
Right.
Like, I always hit live and be like, let's see what we can learn today. Let's see what memories we can make together with our friends. And those 2 things is the only thing I carry with me into my stream. It's what can I learn to do better today so that other people are enjoying their experience more? And, what memories can we make together and, just say today's a good day.
Right.
Together. And so I think I would tell her to be like, start simple, start small, and know that the learning part, right? There's no failure. It's the learning part is the joy. Like, embrace those teething moments as not failures, okay, we did that. Cool.
Exactly. No, I love that. That's a great mindset to have, and it would be great advice if that was something you could possibly ever do. And I know if the way the universe works, if you did start having a thought process where you're like, okay, I've got this figured out, the universe is going to send you another fruit fly
Exactly.
to mess everything up, just like it tried to do that first time.
Yes. And one fruit fly is enough.
Exactly. So, Heymun, what would you say is the biggest difference for you now, just as a streamer, compared to when you were first starting?
Actually, I was going to say like, oh, maybe I cry less, but no, I'm crying the same amount. I'm always so shocked that anybody would subscribe, give me bits, give subs. Until today, 9 months later, that feeling hasn't changed. I thought, like, many people were like, oh, as you go along, I think you'll feel less, all these feelings. I'm like, no, I'm just feeling more. Like, there's nothing. I'm still the same synth Furby like 9 months ago till now. The only difference is I think I'm more in tune of like the format of my show in terms of when I first started, I just don't know what I was doing.
Right.
And now I'm still figuring it out. But I have kind of a template of like, okay, these are the main systems. This is the main menu. And this is the specials of the day where I'll interchange a synth every week.
Okay.
So because I stream 6 days a week, I still want anyone who tunes in 6 days a week to feel like, oh, she's doing her best to bring us like, to show us how to work the synth and, how to integrate ourselves into her, the Ambient Shelter as well, because it's not just my shelter, it's our shelter, right? So I think, that's the only thing I feel like difference is, I'm more comfortable now with the system, the way it works, and dealing with fruit flies and anything than 9 months ago. But we'll see. There might be a fruit fly today, and we'll never know.
You never know. That's the beauty of it, is the unpredictable nature. But I love that you have that. Like you described it as a menu you can offer to people to keep things fresh and interesting. And Heymun, one thing that I love about your streams, and you touched on this a bit, is just how welcoming of an atmosphere you've created. We've referred to your stream as the Ambient Shelter. It's a safe space for anyone, to just come and enjoy the music, the community, and all of that positive energy. So tell me about how the Ambient Shelter came about, and tell me about what it means for you to be able to provide that space like this, to just exist for yourself as an artist and a streamer.
So how it came about was when I started streaming, I would have all these words that I would just throw out like, welcome to my synth Furby cave. Welcome to the Ambient Shelter, and then people were like, oh my gosh, it truly is an ambient shelter. Yeah. I feel like I seek shelter here every day. And I used to stream 7 days a week, sometimes twice a day. Right. And they'll be like, when's the shelter opening? I'm really stressed. I'm like, I'm trying as much as I can to open it. And what it means to me it's I feel like it's my life's, how to say this in a not so cheesy way, but is this my life's like calling? Like I love doing it so much. Like I've done music, I've done albums, I've got YouTube and Instagram, but having an Ambient Shelter on Twitch was like everything coming full circle, where my love for synthesizers and deep diving into them, because I have years where I've just accumulated all this kind of like passion and knowledge for synthesizers, right? But Twitch is the way to really explore and explain that. Like, I'm so excited today because we have Frankie the Frankenstein. Like, I'm able to say, welcome to the Ambient Shelter. Frankie's on the menu today. and people will be like, who's Frankie? That's Frankie. Like, we can actually go so hard into how much you love synthesizers, right? And then at the same time, how much like of a shelter and rest and peace and joy and laughter we can have. That was something I never imagined music, synthesizers could give me or somebody else. We're like, really? Actually, this is the purpose of music, is the community and us seeking shelter together, making memories together. I go to sleep smiling every night for the last 9 months because I'm like, today was so fun. If today was the last day, oh my gosh, this is so fun. I've never had that feeling in my whole journey in music or anything I've done where I'm like, I'm actually really fulfilled. There's nothing more I could want. Good night. See you tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly. And it's amazing that you're able to relive that experience every single day and have that same like emotional impact, and just the mental impact is like, I think you kind of mentioned, it's life-changing, and it kind of becomes a purpose. So I definitely see that in you and the impact that it has on you. So thank you for exploring that. Now, Heymun, if I look back about 6 months, which is about the length of time from when I first met you on Twitch, between then and now, looking at you, I see so much growth in who you are, not just as a streamer, but just as a person as well. So when it comes to being on Twitch and everything that you just described, and I guess in a way you kind of answered it already, but I want to explore it a little bit further. What has had the biggest impact specifically on who you are today as a person?
Oh, I'm gonna cry. I can feel it. Oh my gosh. The biggest impact is that like I've always been really afraid of letting people get close to me in real life. I've been hurt really badly letting, I suppose, maybe not the right people in, or, and being on Twitch, that I didn't know what I was going into. I was like, what is this world? I'm about to like put myself out there. Am I strong enough to, oh no, I'm going to cry. Oh, what was going on? I was like, am I strong enough? And the biggest impact is that I have met the kindest, you included, loveliest people that I've never in my life have ever met. I keep telling chat that every day. Like, I cannot believe that I have not seen your faces. I don't even know some of your full names or real names, but I could not feel more closer. Like, the family vibes is so real.
Right. No, absolutely. Yeah.
I wrote this song recently. The lyrics are like, unfamiliar names in a familiar place makes me feel the safest. Like, that's the lyric. Yeah. And a lot of them were like, oh, I get that, because we're all usernames in a familiar place. But why does it feel like the safest when we're together, right? And that's the feeling that has kind of grown me as a person, where I'm no longer afraid, I realize, to be like, hello, how's your day today? Where are you from? Back then I'd be like, oh my gosh, please don't troll me. You know? Like, please don't say, like, because there's so many people watching, right?
Right.
And if somebody trolls you, it almost feels like you're in a schoolyard. Someone says something and you're like, everyone's looking, but not at the Ambient Shelter or Twitch, I realize. People stand up for each other. They're
Oh,
like,
yeah.
hey, that's not cool.
Yeah.
You shouldn't ask these things or say these things, you know? Like, let's be respectful. So the biggest thing for me to answer your question is my friends have taught me how to be a better person. I think
Wow.
they teach me how to stand up for them. They
Yeah.
teach me how to stand up for myself. They teach me that I'm not somebody that needs to hide and keep people at a distance. Like, it's okay because yes, you will meet the occasional troll, but you will 99% of the time you will meet somebody that you will never know. You're at a cafe one day and you're like, hey, it's so
Right.
good to connect with you, and or you end up at the interview of the 206, you know. And like there's more good.
Yeah.
A lot of growth in me is because of the people I've met. And you know, my music has, like, it can grow in many directions, but I realize the most important thing is like who I've become in this 9 months more than what my music has become. I
Right.
realize like, whoa, I care more about how I'm now becoming. I'm more aware, like, you know, I want to keep showing up because I love them. You know, it used to be like, I love synthesizers, I love making music. And now it's like, because synthesizers could never hurt my feelings, you know? Like, I'm safe here. But I realized, like, you gotta open up on
Yeah.
Twitch to actually connect with people that will actually change you for the better.
Right.
It's a two-way thing. It'll never be a one-way thing on Twitch, you know, as opposed to YouTube where, you know, you put out a video and you don't read the comments, and you read the comments and it doesn't. Real-time interaction changes people, I realize.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Makes you more comfortable in your own skin, you know?
Yeah. No, I love everything you said there. That answer is just brilliant, and I see all of that in you. Like I said, I've known you for 6 months now, and to see you evolve as a person has just been amazing. So thank you for going into that. And I know we're getting a little bit of emotional with these answers, but yeah, I want to turn the corner a little bit and let's talk about who you are as a musician as well. So one thing that I really like is, you've mentioned this, is you do a lot of experimenting and improvising, which gives a really unique and fun angle to your streams on top of everything else that you do. So how did you first get started as a musician? And was there like a moment that you can point to as the sort of origin of your musical journey?
I think that turning point thing was, I actually wanted to get into music after high school, but I don't have any kind of knowledge of music. I've never really like studied music theory or any instrument. I just knew like, oh, when I listen to music, there's this strong feeling. So I just thought I'll go to film school and I will make music videos for musicians. I just thought maybe that's one way to give back to music,
Yeah.
is maybe I'll make the music videos. And so I had this whole chapter of my life where I went to film school. I ended up working in music video production. I was at Fox Studios, you know, and I was like, wow, this should feel it.
Right.
This should feel like you're walking in the lot, and you should feel like this is how they film stuff. But that's when I realized like, whoa, I still have a lot of questions about music. And so I went to the music store. A Yamaha guitar was on sale. $99, and then I purchased it, and I started to Google like, you know, chord formations, and then I started writing my first song.
Oh, wow.
And for 2 weeks straight, I would not let go of the guitar. Every time I had a moment, that I went to the doctor because I messed up this pinky
Oh,
finger.
no.
And then I was like, I need to go to a music store and start playing the piano, because then I don't have to bend my fingers. And I just knew like, hey, maybe this could be a hobby.
Yeah.
And then I recorded an album. The first track of that album went into a songwriting competition that I won. And then that year I went to New York to play my festival for a festival for the first time. And that's when I thought like, hey, I have to start from scratch. Like I had to give up the whole film thing and really dedicate my life to music. And that's how, I'm a synth hoarder now.
That's where it all began. So no, that's
Yeah.
amazing. I love that how you tried to find a way to kind of dip your toes into it, but you needed to just dive in 100%, and that's where you really found your passion. I love that. Thank you. So who would you say are some singers or musicians that inspire who you are as an artist?
For me, like I love film soundtracks like
Mhm.
John Williams, Alexandre Desplat. Like I really love film music.
Yeah.
That's the one style of music that I could listen to, and it just brings me on this roller coaster of this is why I love music.
Mm.
Is like I could just listen to soundtracks all day, all night,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
not get bored. So those are to me like what really sparked my joy into making ambient music that's very cinematic,
Mm.
that's also very like it gives room to breathe. Like when people come to my streams, like there are moments, pockets where they can just be like, oh, I just drifted into a state of like rest, or,
Mm.
I was just playing a game and I forgot where I was, and or I'm cooking and I just felt something.
Yeah.
Like that's what I wanted people to feel, because as a kid, all I did was watch movies
Mm.
and just close my eyes and be like, I love this sound. What's this sound?
Yeah.
What's that instrument? Like it would get me so hyper for days. Like, I need to hear that again. And mom's like, enough. I'm like, no, I need to hear that again. There's so much details that are lost. And that's why, like, there might be a lot of things here going on, but I always want to make sure that it doesn't matter. You could be playing a game, you could be driving, you could be eating food. You're not even looking at what my hands are doing,
Mm.
but they're little things that I put in place so that they can subconsciously just be like, what is that sound? It doesn't matter where it comes from. What matters is you're relaxed and you're asking questions.
Yeah.
Then I can explain, right? So that helps people get into synthesizers and quench their curiosity as well. If they have it, if it ticks, then I'll be like, there we go, because
Right.
I didn't have anyone answering those questions for me when I was a kid, right? Like when I was
Yeah.
listening to things, I'm like, I have so many questions. And then you start to, I guess, I don't know. But now I'm just like, it's your desire to play with synthesizers. Here's where you should start. And
Yeah.
it excites me that you're not just streaming for yourself, you're building the next generation or the current generation's love and confidence. You
Right.
want to build confidence, right? Like for other people to go on their own after the stream to feel like I can do this.
Right.
I can do this. I got this. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. So you've taken the music that you love and found a way to incorporate it into who you are, and then also hand that down to whoever is listening as well. So that's a phenomenal answer. Thank you. Now, a couple of things you've talked about already. You've done the festival you talked about was your first, a big first for you. You've been featured in magazine articles. We talked about your YouTube channel. Your YouTube has about, I think I looked at it and it has just under 5,000 subscribers. You have your following, especially now thanks to Twitch, your following reaches all over the world. So it's on top of everything else that you've done. So Heymun, what does it mean to you knowing that your music, your creations, and how you just described everything that you put into them, what does it mean to you to know that those are out there in the world and people are enjoying them and learning them and experiencing them?
I feel like when I just feel so fulfilled when I know that, because there's many times in life where a lot of us make things and we keep it in the computer and it doesn't see daylight, right? Because as creators, like we are sensitive, beautiful souls, and for me, the act of putting yourself out there has made me feel like you come full circle as an artist than the times that I was just making music and be like, oh, I don't like this, I'm not putting this out. I learned not to be self-conscious. My job as a musician is create, release, the end. Like any feedback or anything else, that's none of my business.
Right.
That's out of my control. And people are free to be like, I love it, I don't love it, I dig it. But for me, I realized like I gotta it taught me to know when my job starts and when it ends, when my passion begins and when it finishes. If not, it would consume me and it would ruin me. So I know where to have limits, and knowing that my music's out there is like, I've done my part. Whatever happens is out of my control, but I feel so seen and heard. And knowing that, one day I won't be on Earth anymore, right? Like my time will, that's life, right?
Right.
But to know that maybe somebody 100 years from now, would stumble upon my music and be like, this makes me feel so calm, or this makes me feel like I'm understood, then I feel like we had a connection, even though I'm no longer around, that you still can leave somebody feeling at peace or inspired to be like, now I want to dive into synths and I want to find my sound, and it's a message that through our art we get to send when we're no longer here.
Sure.
So it's a comforting feeling to know that, like, you want to, I guess in a way, we all want to leave, if possible, leave the world in a place that if we were kids, what would we need? And I think if I had like a sister, right, a younger sister, I was thinking like, go back in time, what would I have needed? And I'm like, I needed somebody to let me know, just a reminder, that you should listen to that voice and you should push forward. So yeah, it makes me feel really fulfilled.
Wow.
Even though it scares me to put my stuff out there, I feel it's worth it.
Right. No, absolutely. I love that answer. I think that's just such good insight on just the impact that you're having for yourself and for other people, just by taking those steps to take an action and create that music and put it out in the world. Because like you said, there's so many times where we can create something and never put it out there. We just keep it to ourselves for whatever reason. It could be any reason out there of why we don't give it out there to the world. And I love how you also have that cutoff, because everybody is going to have their own opinion of your music, and whether they like it or not, that's totally up to them. And I love how you're able to kind of separate that from your own experience with the music. Thank you for going into that. Now, we talked a bit about musicians, composers that influence you and inspire you. So who inspires you that's not a musician or a singer or even a streamer?
Oh, wow. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. This is the part where y'all realize like she has no life. Like this is the part. Because oh my gosh, even when I'm watching a TV show these days, in all honesty, I'm washing dishes, I'm cooking, meal prepping, I'm listening to podcasts. Like I'm basically not even able right now with the schedule that I have to just sit down and look at the sky and be like, I don't even know what day it is sometimes. Just this week, I was like, happy Thursday. And they were like, Heymun, it's Tuesday.
Oh, no.
Okay, what inspires me if it's not music?
Right.
Or
yeah, sure.
Oh.
Or is there a person in your life or that you admire that inspires you that's not a musician?
Ooh. All those people who are tuning in right now, who are in my life, will be like, wow, Heymun, it is so nice to know that I didn't get a mention. I'm like, oops. Actually, so I do listen to this How I Built This podcast.
Oh, okay.
And shout out to Mom, Dad, and my partner, Mr. Waffles.
Yep.
Just to put it out there, that you're all inspiring, wonderful souls. But there's this podcast, How I Built This, right, that I realized really inspired me to do the work side of music. You know how like with music, it's all creativity, but it's also like you got to make sure you're consistent. You have to make sure that you show up. You have to make sure that you got your business side of things in order. How are you going to pay the bills, right? And How I Built This podcast by Guy Raz is the one podcast that I listen to and listen to how people build, how they build what they love.
Right.
And that's been really inspiring for me.
Huh. Oh, that's amazing.
That podcast.
Yeah, no, it's that way you're learning a lot as well. So that's really cool. I like that answer. So um I think in a lot of ways everybody does have an influence on us and is an inspiration. So, like you were just joking about, I hope nobody feels left out when you answer that question. But I think everybody understands that they do play a some significant piece in your life that inspires you. So I wouldn't worry about that too much as well. So
Yeah.
now, Heyman, getting back to Twitch, you were approved for partner status not too long ago, and that's it's a pretty big deal. So congratulations once again on that. But so what does that mean for you to have that little purple check mark next to your name as a partner on the platform?
It feels like, because Twitch is so
Hmm.
supportive of streamers, like it means so much to me that they're like, hey, like you get your partnership. And I found out through a Twitch staff member. I was streaming one day and a Twitch staff came in and was like, hey, there's something for you in your email. Would you like to check it? And that moment made me realize this is why I love Twitch so much. You like, I get to be partner and you came in
Huh.
to let us share this moment together. Like we all found out at the same time.
Wow.
And I love the Ambient Shelter, all of these wonderful friends like Safi, DB Pieta, 206, Fungi, Destroy Storm, so many of you that are not just usernames for me. You are my
Hmm.
family. That we find out that I got partnership together. I cried like a waterfall.
Right.
And the staff was like, oh my gosh, hi, congratulations. And I felt like, what other platform loves you so much
Right.
like this? Like they understand that you're giving your time, your music, your art, and basically your life source,
Oh yeah.
your time is your life source, right? And I give a 1,001% whenever I'm on Twitch, to know that they give me back that kind of love made me feel like, yes, I want to be a partner.
Oh yeah,
It's, yeah.
that's so it makes it such a special moment. Like you said, everybody gets to share in that. So the fact that they would do that really is something that's above and beyond that you don't get on most different, whether it's a streaming platform or just a job that you have. That really does make it that much more special. And I actually didn't know that. I wasn't there for that particular stream, so that kind of gets me a little bit emotional for you. So thank you for telling that story. Now, another thing that Twitch offers during the stream for viewers is channel point redemptions, which are based on viewers accumulating, I guess, loyalty points is the best way to put it. They accumulate those over time, and then they can cash them in for all kinds of different things. Now, for your stream in the Ambient Shelter, two of my favorite redemptions, and I think that probably everybody's two favorite redemptions that you offer, are called Story Time and Solving Rubik's Cube. So Heyman, let's start with story time. It's really just become a legendary thing in your stream. So like I said, let's start there. So could you give a little background on where that came from? Like, is it an idea you had, or did it evolve from something else? Or how did story time become a thing?
Storytime started really organically. In between songs, I just tell people, like tell our friends what happened at some point. And people are like, oh my gosh, you have really crazy real life stories. I'm like, really? They're like, tell me another one. And I tell them another one.
Yeah.
Baby goat
Yeah.
is a really popular one where, someone came to fix the kitchen and they brought a baby
Yeah.
goat. And that baby goat pooped all over my kitchen. And that became like a story that was redeemed like over 10
Right.
times. Or Uncle Bus, which is the story where I took the bus home on the first day of kindergarten and people thought I was kidnapped. Like, where is she? And for me, it's like, this is just my childhood, my adulthood, where I went to New York to play the festival.
Yeah.
And this guy says, I'll loan you a guitar. Just come to my apartment. And at 4:30, and there we were walking to an apartment we don't know. And people are like, Heymun's way of seeing the world is so naive
Right.
that like these story times happen organically. So to me, just telling them what happened, to them it's like, you're different from how people would not approach a situation of baby goat like that. A lot of times story time became a thing is because people go, I would not go down that road.
Oh,
But
no.
there she did. She
Yeah.
went down that road. And then I became friends with the person who rented me the guitar.
Yeah.
And, you know, like, we become Facebook friends for years, and they're still in my life, and I'm still cool with, like, you know, a baby goat person, like, fair enough, you know. So it's these things that organically started just by me just talking to them, and they're like, can you make it a redeem so that I can, and we have over like 40 to 50 stories of my life.
Wow.
You know, and it's become a thing
Yeah.
on its own. It took its own it took its own form to become something.
Sure.
Yeah.
No, I love that. I think those are the best ones where it's not something where you sat down and said, okay, I'm
Yeah.
going to do this and hopefully everybody loves it. It's just something that was already there and kind of became a thing over time. But Heymun, I don't have any channel points, obviously, right now to use here during the interview, but could you at least give us a sample of a story time so people can kind of understand what this is about?
So usually when somebody redeems story time and it's 10,000 points, and we call it 10,000 Brenda tears because Brenda's my face double,
Right,
as you
right.
can see.
Yeah.
When I go to the toilet, you know how some people have these really cool be right back
Yeah.
things? I just have my face double and I just put it there, and they'll just talk to Brenda.
Yeah.
They'll just be like, hey, Brenda, how's your day today? So when I had the channel points, they're like, let's call it Brenda's tears. Like, we're collecting Brenda's
Yeah.
tears. So when someone gives me 10,000, they redeem it, I just go, we're now launching into story time. It's a call for everyone, whether you're lurking or cooking, just come and put the emote. I have an emote where I'm just listening like this.
Nice.
So that's the call where I'm like, and it starts like this. Once upon a real time, when Heymun was 5 years old, she took the bus home and people thought she was kidnapped from kindergarten. And then I will also say, like, today's redeemer, for example, is Safi. Thank you for the 10,000 points. And the story you redeem is Uncle Bus. And we also have a poll of, like, I throw out 3 stories and the chat decides which story they want for the day.
Nice.
So everyone gets a say
Right.
in what they want to hear for the day.
No,
That's it.
that's amazing. I love that. And I know a lot of what makes it such I'll just call it as magical experience is that kind of interactive component to it. It's not just you telling a story. People are asking questions or reacting to it. And sometimes you kind of back up and explain it a different way or add something to it. And it's just such a fun thing. And I love that it just, like I mentioned a minute ago, that it just kind of created itself in a way is a good way of putting it because it's such a unique and amazing thing. Now, Heymun, I also mentioned that, but thank you for giving us that example. That I love this, the keystrokes and everything is part of that. That's fun stuff. It adds another layer to it. So now, as I was saying, I also mentioned the Rubik's Cube redemption, and I'll just say you are an absolute master at solving the Rubik's Cube. So the point of the redeem is to see how quickly you can solve it while also carrying on with your stream, whether it's answering questions or just what have you. So can I get you to show us your cube solving skills?
Yeah, I can try. Like, I'll start now
Yeah.
and I'll start talking to you,
Yeah.
okay? It just depends because they know, like, if they can distract me on chat by talking to me sometimes, and then I will mess it up. It's just the whole fun of the Rubik's Cube is that they're kind of predicting whether I can solve it in one go or not,
Right.
and how much time. So it's become a thing where at first I just thought, what's the fun thing that I can do for our friends? And then it's become this whole thing where, like, I believe she can do it. I don't think she can do it. And there's people like no, she's gonna fail today, depending on her mood today.
Oh, no.
Like, so it's become a whole thing where sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. And I feel horrible when people lose their points.
Oh, no.
And I don't solve it in time. But it's all part of live streaming is people want to feel a part of the fun, not
Right.
just watch the fun. You know what I mean? And when I don't solve it in time, it's part of the fun. Or if I do solve it in time, it's part of the fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can ask me questions if you want, and then I can see if I can solve it. The whole point is to be distracted.
Right, exactly.
While
Yeah, and we don't have a timer today, obviously, so there's not going to be any unofficial record or official records being set. But no, so one thing I always see in your stream, and I'll kind of try to throw off your brain a little bit, is that Pac-Man themed ghost sweatshirt behind you, and I've seen that in a couple pictures as well on your websites and social media and stuff. So tell me about that sweatshirt. What it seems like it has a special place for you.
yeah, it seems like it became this thing where everyone's like, hey, what is that? I'm like, oh, it's just my favorite sweater, really. I love the Pac-Man. I love Pac-Man.
Yeah.
So it's just basically the sweater's just hanging there. But it's become quite a topic of conversation. And they're like, why is it there? I'm like, well, because I don't know where else to hang it. And I really love seeing it,
Right.
you know. I love surrounding myself in the studio with my favorite things. You know, I'm here working all the time, so it just helps me feel like I'm at home, you know, that feeling.
No, absolutely. Now, another question for you is you mentioned Brenda, who, so for people that can't quite tell, there's a simple kind of stick figure style drawing behind you of a face. And when you walk away for a minute during your stream, you put that front and center in front of the camera. So did you draw Brenda, and how did the idea for Brenda come about?
So I actually use this face double to film all of my YouTube videos. I need a focal point
Okay.
to film my videos.
Yeah.
And because I work alone, like I don't have anybody at the studio to kind of help me film stuff. So I've kind of used Brenda as a target, like how do I focus the camera
Yeah.
lens and stuff. I like if you look at this focus right now, there's things that draw your eyes to it and things that are a bit more blurry. So Brenda was actually my body double. And there's one day when I started streaming at the beginning, I was like, I need to go to the toilet. I don't have a screen to say be right back.
Yeah.
Do you mind if I just put this? And people just cracked up laughing. And they said, never change
Nice.
Brenda for the rest of your life. Never do it.
Yeah, I know. I love it when we get to see Brenda. And a lot of times when you come back for wherever you've gone for a moment, whether it's the kitchen or the bathroom or whatever, sometimes people, in a fun, joking way, are disappointed that now Brenda's being set aside, even though Heymun is coming back to continue the stream. So how do you feel about when oh, you're done, you got it. Yay.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Now, like I said, we don't have an official time on that, but maybe we can go back and time it during the premiere for this, or somebody can take a look and see how long that took. But I think it was pretty much within kind of your normal range of completing it. But congratulations on doing that.
I think it took a really long time. I think I could feel it as well.
Right.
But yeah, Brenda's become a thing where people ask me not to change it,
Yeah.
and I'm happy not to change it because, you know, like right now, I'm a partnered channel, right? Like people come in and be like, oh, and then I'm like, be right back,
Yeah.
and here it comes, and people are like, oh. I'm like, there's no cool sound effects here, you know?
Right.
It's just me and Brenda, and they actually talk to Brenda.
Yep.
I can actually see they're like, Brenda, how's your day today?
Yep.
Looking different. Brenda, what did you do with your hair? Like, it just gets me. And I love it so much. I never want Brenda to leave, you know?
Yeah, who knew that Brenda would become such an integral part of your stream and such a personality for being a face on a piece of paper? There's so much to Brenda that nobody ever thought could possibly be there.
Yes, you're right.
Yeah.
So Brenda stays, yeah.
So Heymun, talking about Brenda, doing the Rubik's Cube challenge. We talked about story time. I don't know if we can really top, having all of those topics together. So we'll stop or not stop, but I've got one more question that I always ask as my final interview question, and it will reach that point now. So looking back on your entire journey on Twitch, these last 9 months, you said that's how long you've been here, or not here, but on Twitch. So looking back on that journey on Twitch and everything that involves, all that it encompasses, what is the first thing that comes to mind about that experience that makes you feel gratitude?
I think it's the people. I went into it not knowing what's going to happen, and now I can't imagine my life without all of these wonderful people like when I see their usernames pop in, I have this glow and this excitement that I've never felt in my life.
Yeah.
Like just seeing bunch always greeting me before I even start stream. They're there like, yay, hello. I'm like, how did y'all know I'm sitting at the desk, you know?
Yeah.
And Safi, DB Pieta, Fungilicious, Destroy a Storm, like that's what I think of when I think of gratitude and Twitch. Like I will forever be eternally grateful that, you know, people have chosen to be there, some of them 6 days a week.
Yeah.
RP Maiden, you know, and if they haven't been there in a while, they still come back in that 9 months. They're like, sorry, work has been so busy, you know, and I just wanted to tell you that you brighten my day, Heymun, just seeing you do your thing and how passionate you are. I never realized when it comes to gratitude, it's this, you feel it all day long.
Yeah.
Like I don't feel it just when I'm streaming now. When I think of Twitch, when someone asks me, how's Twitch? I just go,
Yeah.
that's my family you're talking about, you know? Like those are my friends. Like those are real ones. I learned that word on Twitch recently. You're a real one. I'm like, what does that mean? And they're like, cause like you know, you show up for each other
Right.
6 days a week. And I can tell that a lot of them are having either a good day or a bad day, but they bring their best self to the stream because I always try to bring my best self. And when I'm crying and I'm sad, they cry and they're sad too. And they say, true, I've been sad recently. And I realized like we match each other's gratitude. Like we're like, I'm so grateful for your life. I'm so grateful for you. And that's something that I'll always be grateful to Twitch for. It's one of the reasons why I even wanted to become partner and more integrated is that you support me, I support you, and then finding all these wonderful people that I get to call my family for the rest of my life, I hope, you know, is what Twitch is all about for me.
No, and that is really
The people, yeah.
That's really kind of the core of the experience for Twitch, I think, is that community aspect and how it just brings everybody together. So thank you for you know, kind of diving into that a little bit. And Heymun, before we wrap things up, I want to take a moment just to acknowledge you for who you are as a streamer and as a human being. You know, from my perspective, you're an amazingly talented musician. You know, first and foremost, that's kind of what you do. You know, you always give everything you have to the stream, to your music, to everything that you're passionate about, and you truly care about your stream, and that you truly care about the music, and then as you just mentioned, you truly care about the community and every single person involved. And you know, we joked about it earlier, it'd be impossible to name everybody, but I'm sure every single person in your community really understands that they do have that special place for you, and how you exist, you know, within that as well. So I'm personally grateful to have met you. And for me, it's an honor to call you a friend as well. So thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me today. It's just been my honor and my pleasure to have you here.
I'm gonna cry right now because this is, and I cry almost every day on stream. This is perfect. I'm gonna cry now and I'm gonna stream and I'm gonna cry again. Thank you for those kind words.
Yeah.
I want to say the same thing to you as well. Like, just sometimes you know when you know,
Right.
when someone comes into your stream, they say hello, and it doesn't take a lot of conversation to know that this is a real one, somebody that you're going to have a real connection with. That's what I think I realized about Twitch is you can either make a connection like super quick, you know, but it never takes too long. Someone could just say a phrase and you're like, I think I'm gonna see you for a while, right?
Yeah.
And you feel that chemistry, and we haven't even seen each other's faces until now, right?
Right.
And then you just go, I'm pretty sure when we talk we'll click. Like that's just the way it is.
Yeah, exactly.
That's Twitch, you know, the magic of Twitch. Yeah.
No, absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. And those are that's a perfect way to kind of cap the interview and our conversation. So everybody watching, this is HeymunMusic. My name is Mark, and this is the 206 Twitching It Up interview series. You can find Heymun on Twitch and on Instagram as HeymunMusic, and on YouTube is simply as Heymun. So thank you for watching. Please subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, and also check out 206.com. the official home of all content from the 206. Thank you so much. Be safe, and we'll see you next time.